Just turn it this way more. There you go. We'll do it. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're doing well, and thank you for joining us on a Saturday afternoon. This is Real Estate with Ryan. I'm your host, Ryan Coleman. My lovely co-host couldn't be here. She's feeling under the weather, a little bit of the allergies. If you know battle in East Tennessee, you know how that can get to you. And so, solo in the studio. So glad to be with you, and thank you for joining us every Saturday. A couple of housekeeping issues and things that we wanted to talk about. Obviously, voting Best of Knoxville News Sentinel. We appreciate everybody that voted. That really snuck up on us this year. It was quick. Didn't realize it was coming, and we appreciate all you guys that nominated it and voted for us. It means a lot. Why it means a lot is because it comes from you guys. It comes from hard work and a lot of great clients. There's a lot of great agents out there. There's a lot of people to trust, and we're honored every week to not only do you listen to us here in the studios and here on News Talk, but hopefully you've done a lot of business with us or know about us and give us an opportunity to earn your business and help you in such a big move. So it means a lot. We don't take it for granted. We show up every day, try to give you 110%, never perfect, but 110% effort. I think that's all you're looking for, and so we really appreciate that voting, and I think those awards will be out next October, or this coming October, or something like that. But got a good show for you today. One thing I wanted to talk about, obviously sitting here in the studio, you know I'm in sales, so we do real estate a lot and we work a lot with people. This is something different. I don't think we have much time to talk about it, but being in the studio and what these guys do on the air, I know you've heard a lot of these great guys on the air and what they do, and I'm one of those guys. I listen in awe on how they put these shows together in amazement. But being in sales, being a broker, it's one thing sitting across the table from somebody and then sitting here and kind of to this outer space, right? I was talking to Adam briefly before we go on the show, and I said, you know, how do you do all this? How do you keep up with the news and everything that's going on and what's going on out there to keep active? So, you know, there's obviously a special talent here these guys do, and come up here and show it out. And so hopefully you guys are enjoying what we're putting out. We're definitely not the personalities, and we're definitely not the talent. But again, 110% effort. We try to keep you up to date with the information that's going on in the real estate market, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. You need to trust. You know, when it's a big move like that, you need to know who can you trust, who do you have in your corner, and where do you get information. There's so much stuff on the internet and things like that, and so it can be very challenging. So I wanted just to say thank you guys for that, and a little bit of a shout out because I'm missing my co-host, so we'll see how we do today. But anyway, good show. Got a good show for you. We're going to be talking about the market. We're almost middle through the year, and what's going on with the market. Summer, July, busy day in the market now. A lot of vacations were happening in July. Kids are going back to school. We're about 30 days out from football. It's a great time here in East Tennessee. We're approaching the fall market. Couldn't get any better. But what I want to keep you up to date with and understand what's going on in the market, are we facing a market slowdown? Is there a market correction? And what you need to know if there is. So if your house is on the market, you know that we started the first part of the year. We know inventory across the board is low. You know, inventory is low. Buyers are paying prices that are outrageous. Buyers in the first-time home buyer market, it's slower. It's harder to find something. Some of those guys are going into the rental market, not even making it affordable. Rates are climbing up this year. You can see the Feds did rate adjustments multiple times during the year, and makes it challenging. It makes it challenging when there's less inventory, prices are going higher, sellers have an opportunity to kind of get premium of the dollar. Well, the last 60 days have we seen some adjustments, and that's what we're going to talk about. Is there a market correction coming? What you need to know if you see one coming, and some of the things that may be looking out for future end of 2018, maybe going to 2019, what will trigger the next recession, things you're going to talk about. Let's go over some numbers. here locally in our market and give you some up-to-date information comparing 2017 versus 2018. So June, number of sold transactions. This is going to be across the board. 1,990 homes sold in 2017 in June, the month of June. 2018, 1,987. So a 0.2% difference. Seems to be pretty much right on track in June. In July, we had 1,747 homes sold in the month of 2017 for June. In the month of 2018, we had 1,411. And that's a difference by 336. Now, we had 1 or 2 days before we pulled this report, so there may be a little bit of an adjustment, but I don't think we're going to make up the gap. There's a negative 19.2% adjustment in sales year over year from last year, 2017. 2017 was a great year, guys, and 2018 has been one as well. But we're seeing the sales decrease. Now, median sales price in the month of July has went up $13,000. 2017, we're $180,000. Now we're $193,000. So we're up about 7%. So number of new listings, let's talk about that. So new homes that are coming on the market, which means more selection for buyers, more choices. The month of June last year, 2017, 2,577. This year, 2,714. That's an increase of 5.3%. July, 2,397. 2017. July 2018, 2,237. So that's a negative 6.7%. So what does all that mean? All the numbers if you're a number guy. But if you're not a number guy, I mean, the short story is that things are costing substantially more, almost 7 or 8% more for the home that you're going to purchase. We're seeing inventory has increased slightly. We're seeing a little bit of an uptick. And we're seeing that sales are down 19% in just the month of July. We don't have the whole year, but what we're seeing. We cover a wide range in the area, and I think what you're seeing, at least we can give you our opinion on what we're seeing in the market on several counties, is we're seeing adjustments. We're seeing the spring market was very strong. Buyers and sellers, there was less inventory. Buyers were jumping on anything that they could find, and they were moving quickly with multiple offers. We're seeing now as the summer comes into phase, if you were moving for school zones, if you're moving for any kind of reason like that where the schools are involved, which a lot of people are, you know, spring and summer market, that's why that's the busiest. We're seeing in July, as school starts around the corner, we're starting to see that cool off. Nothing to worry about, but something to keep an eye on. July typically has a slowdown when kids go back to school. Things usually pick up right back up here in August, first couple weeks in August. But things that you definitely want to talk about, and things to think about if you're on the market, some different things that maybe would affect that. Now, we've got a lot of things going on in the news. We've had a show back prior that talks about what are some different things that could possibly see the market shifting, what could affect maybe a possible recession or a market slowdown. We talked about some of the trade wars and things like that that were going on across the world and different things that are going on. And I've got an article here, it just came out on end of June. So what will trigger the next recession? And I think there's some key points that you want to talk about, and I think that's important, that will help you to look at these things. So as trade wars fears escalate, kind of sending jitters through the market, it's a good time to evaluate the state and the U.S. economy and how likely are we to see a recession in the last 12 months. First and foremost, you know, the Federal Reserve has been making multiple adjustments. So that's one thing that you need to see. You know, the Fed's over-tightened, eventually leading to an investment or a credit contraction, while the Fed's have been increasing rates almost about a quarter point in interest per year, per quarter, basically. Okay, and they're watching them gauge that, and they kind of dropped that back. We talked about the trade wars and different things like that, and you wouldn't think about how that trade wars would affect, you know, real estate in general. We talked about it in our show this weekend regarding building materials, just lumber as a whole, and some of the things that would be affected in those things. So the rising prices of raw materials like our steel, aluminum, lumber, are able to serve and squeeze for corporate profit margins and makes goods for consumers more expensive. So we get a lot of our lumber from Canada, You know, the U.S. and Canada has a little bit of going back and forth on some tariffs and some issues there. So these are things to watch out for, and how it would affect the new construction market, how it's going to affect, you know, if you're doing a remodeling, things across the board. If the prices are rising, that's going to be passed off to the consumer. A couple of years ago, our biggest competing factor definitely was our short sales, our foreclosures in the market. And one of those now is new construction. And new construction, when we're phasing that, as our biggest competing factor. As we were to able to shift and see the market change a little bit, and we'll talk about that as we're coming on the hard break, but you're going to see that that's going to affect the building prices. Builders have more flexibility, and we'll get into that as we come into the break, and they can do more things, add more options to the property to make it more valuable and make it more challenging for your purchase. You guys are listening to Real Estate with Ryan, and we'll talk more about that topic here after the break. Hope to see you soon. Thank you guys for staying tuned. You're listening to Real Estate with Ryan, and we were talking on the other side of the break, cost of raw materials, how that could possibly going up with trade wars and things like that, and what to watch, how new construction could be passing that on to the consumer. So the challenge if you're on the market now and you're competing with the builders, which you are, you know, obviously across the board, not always, but mostly, it's kind of like that car. Everybody loves a new car smell. Everybody loves a new home. New homes, it's exciting. That trickles down a lot of the resale market that we see out there, believe it or not. A lot of the inventory is created by new construction, believe it or not. They have a home to sell, it's put into the market as inventory, and that affects the overall sales and numbers. So we watch those prices. If they don't get into a trade war that keeps escalating, that could be affected, and something that you want to watch out for. Right now, we don't see anything that is present, but it's something that we want to watch. Now, how does that affect overall and understanding the market? Listen, if you're selling, whether you're buying or selling, what's your reason? I always tell my clients the most important factor, the market's up, the market's down. What's most important? You know, most of our clients, we have to understand, you know, our house is one of our largest investments, but it goes in trending with the market. A lot of people want to, you know, kind of change the market or go with the market as it flows, and it's really hard to predict the market on a dime. We just met with a client the other day, great client. She's downsizing, going to a condo. It's not a have to sell, and a lot of our clients are not a have to sell, but it's more of a want to. And I think, you know, more than anything, nobody can predict the market, but we can use stats, we can use numbers, and we can kind of see a trend in the market. I always say that that's why it's important it's never who you choose. I think, well, let me rephrase that. It is important who you choose. You know, this is a show about really having somebody that you know that knows the market versus somebody that's kind of fairly new in the business. And nothing to be wrong about being new in the business, but there's something to say with experience. And I think as we've seen the market correct, as we've seen the market change a little bit, there's some things that you need to know. You need an expert in your corner on how to navigate when the sales in the markets change. So the two important questions we ask is, you know, what's important about the move to everybody? You know, why are we moving? What's important? And how committed are we on that? And then, of course, the pricing. You know, pricing comes into play. And so those things are important. Just because it's a spring market, not necessarily doesn't mean you're going to get more money. We see coming up here in the fall how it's important, and believe it or not, where there's a lot of opportunity. As we hit the fall market, believe it or not, sometimes sellers are yielding a higher sales price. There's less competition. Buyers that have to move, usually after school goes to, are committed. They're getting that transfer. So there's a lot of opportunity and less competition, and that was going to affect the prices. One of the articles that I was reading, and we were talking about that would tie into the sales, talking about the median pricing and kind of talking about affordability. Across the country, we're looking at $276.9 is the median price, and we're talking about average across the whole U.S. now, 4.3 months supply of inventory. Now, a healthy market's about 6%, you know, 6 months of inventory on the market. Well, we're at 4.3. Our numbers here locally are showing that it's increasing a little bit, and so something that you want to understand, and probably more specifically, if you're on the market now, I talked to some of my vendors, I talked to some of my competitors, and we're seeing some of that change in the market. So what can we do if we're changing, we're on the market, and we need to sell? I think first and foremost, you need to evaluate your marketing plan and exposure. We also need to look at pricing, where you're at in the marketplace, and kind of reintroduce it back into the marketplace. Those are very, very key. And I think by looking at that, and the pricing has a big correlation. This weekend we were able to do some corrections in the marketplace, really look at some other clients and some other competing properties, and we were able to put 4 or 5 under contract just this weekend by the same thing that I'm telling you guys. So nothing to panic about, but it is a time that maybe what we were getting in the pricing of spring that you may adjust over in summer and falling into the first quarter or the last quarter of the year basically. And we're not far off from that, so keep in mind we're seeing that movement. Nothing to worry about, but understand it is important to be in front of the market versus chasing it. Now guys, I know we spend a lot of time here on the show when we talk about stats and different topics, and since April's not here today, a little time to tell you about Hometown Realty, tell you a little bit about ourselves. If it's the first time that you've tuned in, maybe you're catching this show, you're going to work, maybe you're riding around town, or you get different pieces of the show. We've been doing the business for about 20 years. We're out here consistently, actively in the Knoxville surrounding markets, working hard for clients just like you. I founded Hometown Realty back several years ago. We were with some of the bigger names and the bigger franchises, and I just felt like there was an opportunity in the marketplace really to make a difference. So much of the bigger companies, and I've been one, and understand they focus on a lot about, you know, more about the company and the bigger names. And the reason we founded Hometown Realty, and the reason that, you know, we try to make a difference out there, and the reason we do this show, we do 2 shows every week, is really to give back and really kind of get back more education and help the consumer. Knowing it's a very stressful, buying or selling real estate, believe it or not, is one of the most stressful things you can do. It ranks on the top 5 list. I think a lot of that comes down to everybody's busy with their life, so much going on, kids, family, and there's so many moving parts in a real estate transaction. Kind of relate this to a story and kind of how we founded Hometown Realty, and hopefully you can kind of understand this. You know, so the other week we were out there doing a little golf. Not the best golfer, but we had a little vacation. We're down Hilton Head, and we got 18 holes in. It was exciting. Spent some time with the family. We got back, and I got a little bursitis in the elbow, and all of a sudden, you know, getting a little older, and not as bones start going before you know it. So I got a little bursitis. We got to the doctor, and wasn't going away. And eventually, you know, if you're like us guys, you understand that we don't like to go to the doctor. At least I don't. My wife's been in the nursing field for years, and the last thing I want to do is go to the doctor. But we did, and I was talked in to do it. But let me just tell you a little bit about this experience and kind of hopefully the difference that separates us from a lot of different agents, and there's a lot to choose from. So I was able to go into the doctor, and I was nervous, didn't know what he was going to say. The thought was that I was going to have to get this big long needle, and if you guys are like me, I hate needles. And so I was scared to death. My wife couldn't go, so I'm a big baby. I needed somebody to hold my hand, but didn't do it. And I tell you this, when I was able to come into the room, the doctor came in, great personality, great, just engaging, made you feel at ease, made you understand that you were there, and everything was going to be okay, right? Everything was going to be fine because he was in control. He was a professional, he knew what he was doing, and walked me through the process. He was in and out in maybe 10 minutes. But the experience that we gave, and the doctor was like, man, this guy, he's on it. He really knows what he's doing. This guy's a great guy. He should be in sales. And the experience that I had, I got on the phone and I said, hey, well, this doctor's wonderful. Well, actually, let me just rephrase that. My wife was on speakerphone because she needs to hold my hand. So anyway, it just happened to be that way. But, all joking aside, just a great guy. And really what I'm getting at and what I want to tie into you is he made his profession easy. When he dealt with me, he was at ease. He made me understand that it wouldn't even be a process, and he had it in full control. What we found, Hometown Realty, and hopefully that what we deliver, we've been there and done that thousands of times, that in these scenarios where the market's up, the market's down, you don't know who you need to touch, to reach out to, who do you call? That's why we got these shows every week. I'm not like these guys on radio that do this thing and they're out there talking and for hours and hours. But we're stepping out of our comfort level, and we want to bring this show to you. So hopefully to show what we're able to bring and be that comfort level and such, whether it's a big move across the country in Texas, whether it's a local move, whether it's a distressed move, you need somebody like the doctor, somebody that you're going to be put at ease, and somebody that that's going to be able to help you in that scenario. I thought that was very, very important. Me and my wife own the company. Obviously, it's never about what we've done in the past. It's what we can do for you in the future. And I hope that what our goal here is at Hometown Realty, it's home family value. Our job is really to make you a client for life. Hopefully give you that ease of experience in the market, whether we're going up, the market's correcting, that you can trust on us, that we can help you through that process. Got a lot of congratulations to some clients that were busy this weekend, so we thank you guys for listening with us. And what you guys have on your mind, remember, we're always out on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, all those different social profiles. And if you have a chance, make sure you follow our page. We always got some up-to-date information. We got some new articles that are coming out, so hopefully you like that. Hope you guys have a great weekend out there, out and about. If you need us, it's an easy number. It's 693-SOLD. 693-SOLD. You can visit us at ryancoleman.org. Hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week this Saturday at 5 o'clock.